You're listening to Sox in the Basement, a production of the Broadcast Basement Limited, where every show is 30 minutes of good and comes from a basement bar on the south side of Chicago. Pull up a stool, pour a cold one, and join us right now for Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. And I've already started drinking, my friend. I've already started drinking.
Well, why have you already started drinking?
Begun the drinking. We're sitting down in the middle of the afternoon on a Thursday. I've already started drinking. Like, at this point, I'm done. I've got a lot of good stuff for the show today. Trust me. If you have been staying out of bars, now is the time to walk back in and just get loaded. I know it's irresponsible for me to say, have somebody drive you home afterwards, but I feel like it's time to get loaded at this point, Ed. I'm done, okay? I'm done with the stupid lockout.
That's the first good take I've heard in anything White Sox related in months.
It's time to get loaded?
It's time to get loaded.
It's time to get loaded, Ed. It is. It's time. Like right now, I feel like with the fact that we have, we're still dealing with all the COVID stuff at the back end and the fighting and the yelling and the takes and everything like that. And then I'm dealing with the lockout and the negotiations, but they're avoiding talking about the competitive balance tax. So in reality, there's not real negotiations going on. Now we have a war going on in the Ukraine, and at any minute I'm just waiting for the sirens to go off. Like I was explaining to the kids, I'm like, this is what it was like in the 80s. In the 80s, we just went out and played every day, and we just knew, because there was a movie that came out every 3 months, like War Games or whatever, we just knew at any moment it could all be over. And then in the 90s, we got soft. We got soft in the 90s. There was a strike in the 90s for baseball, but otherwise, the world was pretty calm in the 90s. And the world got crazy again in the 2000s, and it's been like on a steady course back to insanity since then. But like, this is old school now. This is like, you know, I was explaining to kids, they're like, well, what do we do? And I'm like, nothing. We spend a good 5 minutes with each other. We give each other a hug, and it's over. So just go out and live your life at this point. Like, that's what I told them. I know I'm on a rant. Right. I know I'm all fired up, but I just like, listen to this guy. I got this phone call that came in to the Sox in the Basement line. And this guy sums up, I think, the angst and the anger of every White Sox fan and every baseball fan out there. And I wanted to play this because even if you feel like what he's saying is irrational, there's a little part of you that's like, hell yeah.
Hey, Sox in the Basement guys. Just a novel thought, kind of mad as hell and not going to take it anymore. I keep getting my emails from the White Sox about bumping my 20-game package to a more full-fledged package, and my response is F you, because the season may not even start. Really getting tired of the greed between the owners and the players, and would like to coordinate so that everybody at a White Sox game literally gets up and leaves. After the grounds crew cleans off the field in the bottom of the fifth inning, the last grounds crew keeper go into the White Sox dugout, and then everybody in the stands collectively gets up, walks out, and they can say F you if they wanted to, but they literally walk out of the stadium. Just a thought, fan walk off to let these guys know that we're not going to take it anymore.
See, and you know what? There's a real irrationality out of that, because let's be honest,
right?
There's no way to coordinate such a thing, right?
Well, and also you're assuming that there are going to be people in the stands who are sober enough to be able to still count to 5.
Listen, you'll never be able to get fans to stand up to an organization when there are still people that exist in the ballpark, and there's enough of them that it's annoying, that will do the wave in the bottom of the ninth with your team in a close game. Those morons exist without a lockout, and those morons will still go sit in the ballpark and will take whatever is fed to them by the owners when the lockout eventually ends. They'll take a 120 game season and tell you, what are you so upset about? Who cares? There's going to be plenty of them in the ballpark. So I understand your anger, but the same people that do the wave in the most intense moment of the game because they're not paying attention to the game, and we've seen it before, not only in our ballpark, but in every ballpark around the country, those people are still going to come walking in. The mouth breathers will still sit down, and they're not going to walk out in the fifth inning because you coordinated. I get the sentiment, though, because I understand the anger. I understand the frustration, which is why I'm sitting here right now and I'm drinking like a 9% beer in the middle of the afternoon. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I had? You know what I had to eat so far today? I had 5 saltine crackers with some peanut butter on it. And I think I grabbed like a package of Hostess muffins this morning out of the cupboard. And I'm 3 beers in at this point, so I'm pretty sure the food doesn't even matter that's in my stomach.
This is why we record at your home bar and not at an alternative location.
This is why we can't do this out in public very often, okay? Before we go any further, I have to mention the sponsor. I've been on such a rant, I haven't even mentioned the sponsor. Like, that's where I'm at today. This is the Angry Chris Show, all right? Buckle up. Chris is pissed. Family Waterproofing Solutions is hosting an installer job fair on Saturday the 26th. The show comes out on Friday the 25th. So if you're listening to it when it first came out, you still have time, 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. in Evergreen Park. Find out what they do, why they do it, and the services they provide. Award-winning family business that is growing. Excellent benefit packages available. No sign-up necessary. Bring your valid driver's license on Saturday the 26th to Family Waterproofing Solutions and learn more about what a difference a family makes, where to go, all the details at familydry.com. They were named one of the Southtown's best in 2021 by the Daily Southtown. They handle basically keeping water out of your home, which is a good thing. And if you have an issue or you're worried about anything that has to do with your basement, your foundation, anything like that, use familydry.com for that as well. Mention us, you get money off. That's how the thing works. Okay. So back to my irrational ranting and anger and everything like that. I want to go through
No. This isn't irrational. There's no irrationality here.
Well, I mean,
this is justified anger and justified feelings of, absolute gloom and doom.
No, it isn't. I've literally roped the pandemic, the war between Russia and Ukraine, the MLB lockout, and my excuse for drinking in the middle of the afternoon on a weekday. I've looped those all together. It is irrational, okay?
No, that's not irrational at all. No, yes. Irrational is you're looping those together with, what's going to happen on a Real Housewives episode. That's where things get irrational. You're not there yet, okay?
Okay. What I want to do is I want to go through terrible takes that I've seen from White Sox fans and people that pretend that they cover the team. And when I read one of my terrible takes that I've seen over the last couple of weeks, you'll understand what that last part means. What we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of a tournament today here on Sox in the Basement for the rest of the show. We're going to have a little bit of a tournament today of bad takes on White Sox social media. And so what we're going to do is you have a play-in game. You have 2 terrible takes you're going to read. Then my bracket only has 2. And then we're going to come back and see your play-in game versus the other one that you have that is your number 1 seed. And then we'll decide between the bad takes that I've collected and the bad takes you've collected, which is the worst take that I have seen this entire offseason. And more than likely, it will be something that was uttered in the last week or so, because as the lockout continues, as people become starved for baseball, as February drags on and the mind turns to mush, some of the things that people are saying or writing or tweeting is just stupid. And it's time to devote a show to it. It's time to devote a show to the stupidity and just get it all out into the forefront so that we can remember. This is almost like every once in a while you have to look at something bad to remember that you still have good inside of you. That's kind of how this is, okay? Like you have to look at real dumb, stupid, asinine takes just so that you can understand that you aren't all the way gone. Now, if you listen to all of these and you agree with all these takes, you're in trouble. Seek help. Go see a professional, all right? Maybe take a break, a sabbatical. Go off into the mountains and dress like Gandhi and stare at a tree for a week. That's what you need if you like all of these takes, all right? So we're going to start off with 2 takes that Ed found, and we're going to discuss which one is the worst. Go ahead, Ed.
Okay, so this is officially the play-in game to get into the actual bracket.
Play-in game.
But the play-in game. And this one comes from Facebook, a poll that was taken. Should the White Sox sign Trevor Bauer, which is impossible because he's not a free agent, but we'll hold that aside. Should the White Sox sign Trevor Bauer? The take is, from purely a baseball standpoint, he's a great fit for the team.
Okay, well, first of all, here's the problem with that take. You cannot remove what Trevor Bauer is.
Ever. You cannot remove ever the state of what Trevor Bauer is. There is no from a pure baseball standpoint.
I removed him from my fantasy baseball team because I felt dirty having him on there. I did. I did. I felt dirty. And here's the thing. You want to get into an argument over whether or not it was consensual or not, what happened? It doesn't matter. If a girl told me do that to her, I would look at her and say, you're crazy, and walk out of the room. I don't care how hot she is. She could have been Megan Fox hot and said, do that to me. And I've been like, no, I can't. Because one day I got to look in a mirror. There's something not right with Trevor Bauer. Even if she told him to do that to her, there's something not right with Trevor Bauer. And there are guys that are going to be in the locker room that are going to be disgusted by him. There are guys that have families and children, and they're going to look at him, guys with daughters, like I have a daughter, who are going to look at him and be like, and he's going to be like, well, she told me to do it. Look, here's the text. She said do this to her. And you're still going to be like, no, man. No, we're not friends. We're not getting beers. That's not good for your locker room. So no, I would not want Trevor Bauer.
All you need to know about Bauer and his position in a major league locker room is the Dodgers, who were contenders for a World Series championship last year, who desperately needed pitching because they had injuries in the rotation. Their players reportedly said, even if he's allowed back, we don't want him back.
Right, and they knew him. They already knew him.
Yes.
Like, I don't want him. That's a terrible take. Anybody that even asks whether or not Trevor Bauer should be considered for your team, you're wrong. It's just stupid. What's the other take that it's going up against?
So this is a take that comes to me courtesy of my son's basketball coach via text, and he said that in a conversation, he was argued against that Tony La Russa does not know how to manage a Major League Baseball team, but Ricky Renteria does, so they need to rehire Ricky. So let's hold aside the fact that Tony La Russa is literally in the Hall of Fame for managing Major League Baseball teams. Just for a second, and understand that maybe the game has passed him by a bit. That's a possibility. The best you could do is rehire Ricky Renteria.
Oh my goodness, right. Like if you were, like that's your only two options. It's Tony or you got to go back to Ricky. That's the mentality of that take.
Not even Robin. They're not even saying rehire Robin. Go back to Ricky.
That would be even a worse take if they were like, go back to Robin. You know that Terry Boom Boom Bevington was a hell of a manager. We should have him instead of La Russa. Like that would be a worse take, right? There are worse takes. There are worse takes, but the idea that one, it's Renteria or La Russa, nothing else. And two,
that's what makes it a bad take.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that, let's be honest, Ricky Renteria was on two different franchises that started from a rebuild in which management had the option to keep him with the young players he was with, and both managements, both teams looked at Ricky Renteria and was like, this ain't the guy. All right?
Right.
I mean, so either both of these franchises are completely wrong, one of which that went on to win a World Series after they dumped him for Joe Madden, right? And the other one, let's be honest, the White Sox had a heck of a year this year. I wasn't happy. I still blame La Russa for the Game 2 loss for moving Leury Garcia in the right. I think that another manager wouldn't have relied on Leury and stuck him out in right field and wouldn't have pinch hit for Adam Engel, who had scorched the ball the last time he was up there. So yes, Tony La Russa is not a perfect person, and he didn't win every World Series he was in, and he screws up every once in a while, and I don't like him sometimes when he makes bad decisions. But the idea that somehow he's the problem, and if you brought in Ricky, everything would be fine, you win a World Series, that is just one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, that was a particularly interesting one.
All right, before we pick which one advances here, do not forget Cork and Kerry is having one heck of a party, just like all of Western Avenue, on Parade Day coming up here on the 13th. The Southside Irish Parade is back. The Cork is the place to be during it. And we will be out there along with Sox on 35th, and Southside Pod's going to be out there. And you've been on a previous show with the two guys on Southside Pod, so this will be like kind of a reunion, Ed.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit of a reunion.
We're going to have a big old party out there at Cork and Kerry. We got some swag that we've ordered. We're giving away things. I can't wait to drink a beer with anybody that wants to come up and have one. You come find me. We're drinking. That's the mood I'm in now will carry over. All right. I will be just as ranty and drinky as I am right now. I guarantee it on Southside Irish Parade Day, if not more ranty and drinky than I am now. Okay. So make sure you check it out.
Ranty and drinky. They said ranty and drinky sounds like they should be our new mascots right now.
Ranty and Drinky would be so much better mascots than Southpaw. And that isn't even as bad of a take as all the other takes that we're giving on this show.
No, not at all.
But then again, I've always been partial to Ribby and Rhubarb, and I don't know why there isn't a clown that walks around and yells, "Hey, you Sox! Go White Sox!" Like, where is Andy the Clown, and why is he not celebrated as much as he should be? All right. I mean,
the where Andy the Clown is, I have a feeling it's probably not a pleasant answer, but
could be in heaven. Why? What, you think Andy the Clown went to hell? Is that what you think?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all.
If he died and he went up to the pearly gates, he could be very happy right now.
Well, he could be extremely happy.
Wow, what did you have against Andy the Clown?
He could be nothing. He could be screaming, "Let's go, Jesus!"
Yeah. No. I think it just came out that Ed never liked Andy the Clown, and that's a real shame.
I never said that. I don't like clowns in general, though. But no, nothing against Andy personally.
Cork and Carries at 10614 Southwestern Avenue. They're a traditional Irish bar in the Beverly neighborhood, an outdoor patio bar that hopefully will be going strong if we get warm weather on the 13th. As soon as warm weather happens, I'm sure that thing will be hopping as well. Multiple event rooms for your next party. See more, book your next event at corkandcarry.com. And when they finally get baseball back, Cork and Carry at the park at 33rd and Princeton in the shadow of the ballpark is the absolute place to be. And whenever opening day is, whether it is when it is originally planned, July, whenever it is, we'll be there.
Sometime in 2023.
Right. I don't know how many fans will be there, but we'll be there. We'll be.
Right.
I'm going to get out there. All right. So, okay, I'm going to let you pick this one. Should I pick this one or should you pick this one? We have to advance to get to the next one.
Why don't you pick this one? Because then it goes up against, I think, the weakest bad take we're going to have today. But go ahead and pick between those two.
As much as I think that, you know what, I think the Ricky Renteria, Tony La Russa one is stupid, but having Trevor Bauer on your team, I'm sorry, advances as a worst take. That's a worst take. I'm advancing that in the bracket, okay? Let's move on to mine, and you could pick which one is the worst here, okay?
Okay,
so
sounds good.
I have two of them here. The first one is incredibly terrible. It started earlier on this week. It was put out by a website that exemplifies why we work with Sox on 35th and SoxOn35th.com instead of going with a website that puts clickbait articles out. And the question was, what kind of trade it would take for the White Sox to get Juan Soto? and there were three options on this site, and I'm only going to read the first one because all three of them were terrible. This is what you lead your article off with, and it's the possibility of the White Sox acquiring Juan Soto, maybe the greatest, most valuable hitter in baseball when you take his age, his potential, and what he's already done, and the fact that you would love to place him in your outfield, right, Ed? So, like, this would be the
100%.
crown jewel, franchise-changing player, right? The White Sox get Juan Soto, and the proposed trade was Andrew Vaughn, Gavin Sheets, and Jared Kelly. Now, let me explain something to you. Let me explain this to anybody that thinks, so, well, I don't know, would I make that trade? Let me explain something to you. The only way the Nationals make this trade is if somewhere in Mother Russia, they unleash a ray gun that will melt brains. And unfortunately, it goes off of a satellite, bounces off another one, and accidentally comes down and lands in the middle of a boardroom where all the Nationals brass are sitting. And all they're able to do after being hit with this ray gun, okay, unfortunate casualties that they would be, is drool on themselves, say the word yes, and fax off their signatures to finish off the trade. And that's the only way that the Nationals would ever take Andrew Vaughn, Gavin Sheets, and Jared Kelly for Juan Soto. That's the only... Are you kidding? First of all, Jared Kelly was a kid that got drafted out of high school and has yet to show anything to anybody that he is even a top 100 prospect in Major League Baseball, and he's nowhere near the list right now. So he's just a name that you've fallen in love with. Give me a break, okay? Andrew Vaughn, like we said, his first year in the majors, he did a lot of great things, but it's not even as good as Gordon Beckham's first year in the major leagues for the White Sox. We've done that comparison before. I still think the kid can be something, but you're trying to get Juan Soto with him? I'll make that trade any day of the week. And Gavin Sheets right now has only shown us he's a platoon hitter. So really, this is the dumbest thing that I've seen on the internet, maybe ever. I mean, at least White Sox related. I mean, I've seen some dumb things on the internet, but this is one of the dumbest things. I mean, this is why I looked at somebody, and I've told this story about why we joined up with Sox on 35th. And it was because we were approached by a lot of different websites that do things where they send out clickbait articles and they need a podcast around it. And I'm not going to say whether or not this was the site or not, because I'm not that kind of a jerk. But I did tell one of these people that brought this to me, I don't want to work with you because I don't want clickbait articles around my podcast. And this would drive me nuts if it was right next to my podcast. This would drive me absolutely insane because it would make me look stupid if this was next to my show. This is why we work with the folks over at Sox on 35th, because they're intelligent and they put out a good product. And I don't want to have to write anything because I'm not a writer. And you just want to write your goofy little musings, which I absolutely enjoy and I giggle at when you do them every week on that website, and everybody should check them out. But this is why right here, Ed, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in print.
Yeah, that is, it's just infuriating sometimes when you talk to fans who, just because somebody was a first round pick for your team, that means they must be revered around the league as this fantastic prospect. Jared Kelly had a 2.11 whip last year in the 7.61 ERA. Jared Kelly sucked. Jared Kelly flat out sucked last year. He was terrible.
He's going to pry Juan Soto away. He's going to pry Juan Soto right away from the Nationals.
Yeah.
They can't wait to get their hands on some Jared Kelly. All right, the other take that's going up against it, although, and it's a bad take, but I don't know if it beats this one. I'm going to let you choose. Is a tweet that I read that says, once again, the masses are asking for Michael Conforto. And it gives his slash line 232, 344, 384, 729. Let me guess the 344 got him all hot and sassy. This line is absolutely horrible, but I guess he'll save the White Sox. Yeah. Okay, listen, I've wanted a second baseman more than I've wanted right field. So for me to sit there and say that I wouldn't take a second baseman over Michael Conforto, I'd be lying right now. But I will tell you this. I will take anybody who's under 30 years old, who's got a career 824 OPS and a career 124 OPS plus, showing that he consistently is over the average for OPS plus. And the last time that he was below 100 was when he was 23 years old before his 24-year-old All-Star season, who would improve your defense out there, give you somebody consistent. You wouldn't have to do a platoon. Like, first of all, Michael Conforto is not the guy who gets you to the World Series, but Michael Conforto and guys like him need to be on your team to get over the hump and win a World Series. So I don't get that take at all. That seems to me like somebody who just wants to be angry to stir up stuff. Again, there's clickbait, there's click tweets. That's what that one is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the whole issue with Michael Conforto is he going to cost more money than you want to spend for what he ultimately is relative to what he brings to the team? Okay, so basically, does he bring value for what it's going to cost to sign him as a free agent? And that's a worthwhile discussion to have, because why not, right? He does fit a lot of bills. He does check off a lot of boxes, except for second base, which is probably the greater need. But you're right. I mean, to sit there and just, hate on Michael Conforto, I have been negative about the idea of signing Michael Conforto for a number of reasons, but none of them are me sitting there saying, look, I would absolutely hate to have this guy on the team. I would absolutely hate to have him as a member of the White Sox because, yeah, he does fit nicely in right field for him. But there's question marks around whether or not he's a better use of the resources that the Sox have than trying to figure out the second base issue. That's a bad take only because it is trying to just sort of stir up a controversy where one doesn't really exist. The Juan Soto trade has got to take that one, though, as far as bad takes, because that is just a complete lack of understanding.
It doesn't
of baseball. I mean, you just don't understand the league, the game, anything at that point. You were literally just saying, I'm going to throw three names from the team that people are going to be like, hey, yeah, I know that guy. And that's what I'm going to say is the trade. And I'm going to try and generate controversy because two of those guys were on the team last year and are the quote unquote future in some way, shape, or form. So the Juan Soto thing is a bad take. Frankly, any trade offer that you drum up for Juan Soto that doesn't involve Rick Hahn more or less gutting the team and turning the White Sox into the Nationals around Juan Soto is pretty much a bad take. There's no way you're getting a guy like that for anything less than just basically destroying the core of the team.
It sounds like an MLB The Show video game proposal, except I think MLB The Show would reject it. Like, I don't even think you can pull that off
100%.
inside of the game system. And that's what makes it so dumb. All right.
No,
so that one wins.
What that is the guy in your fantasy baseball league who way overvalues all things White Sox because you have one of those super fans. And it can be for any team, but in this case, for the White Sox, you're sitting there going, Jared Kelly's going to win Cy Young Award after Cy Young Award. You just watch. And you're like, okay, Gavin Sheets is going to play 100 games this year. And he's going to be pinch hit for by Larry Garcia more often than not. But I'm happy to take Juan Soto off your hands. Hey, do you think you can throw me another player like, say, Garrett Cole while we're at it?
All right. So the Juan Soto one advances to the finals. Your play-in was the Trevor Bauer bad take. And what? What is the last one that we have here that we haven't revealed?
The last bad take is Jake Berger and a prospect for DJ LeMahieu.
Jake, I love you, but I'm making the deal. I'm trained right now, Jake. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I know you're looking good in those workouts. I know you're on a previous episode of Sox in the Basement. You seem like a really fun guy. We had a lot of laughs. I'm packing you up right now. I'm throwing Jared Kelly in there as the other guy, and I'm sending you up for DJ LeMahieu, like right now. Who do I have to give a lap dance to for that to happen? It's going to be awkward and weird.
Hal Steinbrenner, evidently, or Brian Cashman, one of those two, or both.
I'll dress up for him to get that deal done. What the hell is that? That is terrible. That beats Trevor Bauer, hands down. Just that is the worst take in your bracket. So the question now becomes, and they're both trades, which I love this. This shows right here the stupidity of the world when we don't have baseball. Like, we need baseball to return. Because right now, people's brains are turning to mush and they've run out of things to say. So if we have the Juan Soto deal that was proposed and the Jake Berger for DJ LeMahieu deal, which one is the worst take in your mind right now, Ed?
I mean, at least with the Juan Soto deal, you've got two second rounders and a first rounder that are going for the best young player in the game. That might, this side of Luis Robert. I'm partial to trading a AAA third baseman and some low end prospect for an all-star versatile infielder that the Yankees are absolutely 100% relying on as their leadoff hitter and probably a bulk of their offense this year. I think the Juan Soto take is bad. Wow. It's the Juan Soto. It's got to be the Juan Soto deal. You're never, ever, ever getting him for anything less than Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez, Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, and half your minor leagues. The Nationals aren't moving him.
I think you've overpaid a little bit. I think you've overpaid when you throw in Giolito and Robert in the same deal for Juan Soto. I wouldn't make that trade. I like Juan Soto, but I think my boy Luis Robert. You know what? You just won the bad take right there with that one.
No, if maybe I did. But I'm saying, if you called Mike Rizzo right now, if we just got Mike Rizzo of the Nationals on the phone right now and said, Mike, what are you asking for from the White Sox for Juan Soto? I guarantee you he's opening up with, I'm going to take players out of this group of people, and he's going to start with Luis Robert. He's going to include the names Lucas Giolito, Dylan Cease, Eloy Jimenez. I'm not saying you trade all of them. I'm saying that is the group of players that Mike Rizzo, that's the group of players the Nationals are looking at. They're not looking at what's in the minor leagues for the Sox.
Hey, maybe we can combine both of those trades. We can trade Berger, Vaughn, Sheets, and Jared Kelly. And we can throw in another prospect, and we can pick up LeMahieu, Soto, and Aaron Judge in a 3-team deal. I mean, why not at this point?
Oh, sure. I'm guessing that the Nationals will probably have to kick in another prospect.
They got to kick in. Well, they got to kick in a relief pitcher or something like that. We'll throw in Kimbrel. We'll be generous. We'll throw in Kimbrel.
Oh yeah, we'll throw in Kimbrel. Kimbrel, yeah, he'll help the Nationals this year in their efforts to win. To win 5 games. But and then I cannot wait to see what Ricky Renteria does with that newfound lineup.
Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement. Sox in the basement.
Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found. And always on soxinthebasement.com.